What's up, everybody? It's your boy ShowtimeDr. I'm back. So, got some major issues with this dungeon. And before you even ask, this is going to be a dungeon review. It's not a how to beat this dungeon guide. I can tell you tips. I will tell you how to beat the dungeon, but I currently can't do it because I don't have any of the heroes required for it, and I can only borrow one. So there is a chance that I can beat the dungeon, but the problem is... it's not going to be a consistent way. Like, it's going to be luck, if anything, RNG, and even heavier RNG than before. So, the way this dungeon works, here's your bonus units. Of course, they nerf Sid, because why not? Everyone has them at 666. That's been playing for 2.5, 3 months or more. So that really sucks, because Sid's would be such a good hero in here. Cordelia... she would also be a really good hero in here, but of course they had to nerf her because, you know, fuck you. That's how it goes. So, of course, the new banner unit. Amelia gives you the attack bonus. Elizabeth, if you happen to have her, she was a banner unit from a couple weeks ago. Increase allies' abnormal status immunity by 50%. Really strong in this dungeon, by the way, because of the charm mechanic. The charm mechanic is stupid overpowered in here. And Fencing Tutor, Jacqueline, increase wind allies recovery amount by 50% if Jacqueline's in the party. Jacqueline's good if you got her, you know, you can run her. But mostly for the debuff, because she gets buffed up when there's more debuffs. And a lot of the heroes, you can put some pretty good debuffs in here. So I'll tell you about this dungeon. I'll show you what I'm running, because literally I don't have any of those heroes. So... I experimented with that team. So this is going to seem dumb, but hear me out. So I'm bringing Taya. So here's the issue I have. Number one, my 5th win unit that I have would not work here. I have a couple that are nerfed, and then one of them that's just, it's just not going to work. She's too low, she doesn't have the gear, etc. So I'm running this team, and with this team, the reason I'm bringing, well... I should kind of explain how this dungeon works. So, the issue with this dungeon is not only have they nerfed Cordelia and Sid, but all male characters will get eradicated on phase 3, because the boss deals bonus damage to male characters. And even if with Tayo, you can go in there with Tayo at full health, you can have hit his 3 at the end of the 2nd phase to get his damage mitigation up 50%. Boss will just one-shot him, it doesn't matter. So it's the way the character works, but of course when it's in the Advent dungeon, they amp it up by like 1,000,000 degrees, so it gets pretty dumb. Now what I am searching for, I actually want a Junia, as dumb as that sounds, because this hero is best for damage output, Amelia, because she gives that 200% bonus. But... unfortunately, it doesn't look like I have a friend who has a Junia. So I'm screwed, most likely. Unless maybe double Cali might work. I'm thinking about it. You know, maybe. I might try that later, but until then, I'm actually going to bring in, just to show you guys, I will bring in one of the Amelias. Try to see who has the most health. 148. Base crit damage 64%. Versus 106. Same thing, so the lower one's a little better. By the way, if you bring Ian in here, Ian gets one shot. Yeah, that one's actually not bad. I'll bring Ashes. Because, they've basically made it so that all the tanks in this Advent that you can bring that are good would get one shot somehow, including Electra, because male characters are nerfed. Also, all fire characters are nerfed. Let me just show you the dungeon. I'll go over the mechanics with you in depth, because it's pretty fucking dumb how they've made this dungeon. This is by far the worst designed dungeon in the game so far, because... Nikita's dungeon was kind of rough, but at least Nikita's dungeon, on occasion I could beat it with 2 non-water heroes. In this dungeon, it is very hard. So, this first phase, what you gotta look out for, they're fully susceptible to pretty much every debuff. But basically, if there's a charm mechanic in this dungeon, and the charm mechanic is not only do they charm you, but they also have a, if they hit you while you're charmed, it doesn't have a chance to break the charm. It just, so you're just like sitting in charm for like freaking, you know, forever. So in the case of these first two, low chance to cast Lethal Beauty when attacking, has a high chance to stun upon attacking an enemy with Lethal Beauty. Lethal Beauty is the charm in this dungeon. So Lethal Beauty, if they attack you again, you have a chance to be charmed and still in Lethal Beauty. So, and normally you would just bring Rue to dispel it, but Rue gets marked and immediately one-shot in phases 2 and 3. Maybe not one-shot, but she'll die within 2 or 3 turns. Now, the thing with these two, the one on the right, if you get her under 30%, she does a big AoE ult, and depending on how many charms are up, she can actually nuke you down pretty fast. So what I usually do, I focus the one on the right, and just hope that they don't charm... well, of course they can't really charm Cowley unless they do one of their AoEs. And then just go hard on the right. And then, before she gets the 30%, just wreck her. I think Cowley... I'm trying to think if Cowley could do it with her 2. I don't think so. I gotta do her 3, so... And there she goes. And make sure, and never let her be under 30%, or she'll do an AoE, and if people are charmed, she has a chance to one-shot them. So it seems like everyone in this dungeon has very high multi and very high counter. So what you can do, you can bring Ramuh in, and with her 2, she can decrease debuff duration. So usually it'll get rid of the charms. Now, the issue is Karina sometimes will follow up with like this big kiss, whatever the hell it's called. Well, anyways, if she does that kiss while someone's charmed, it'll almost one-shot. It'll do basically massive damage. It might not one-shot, but if someone's at like half health or something. And like I said, like mental seal, etc., all that stuff works on this phase 1, so just keep focusing. And you see, charmed the first turn. Stunned because when they're charmed, they have a chance to get stunned. And even though she was attacked 3 times, charm never broke because that's the mechanic in this dungeon, which is very troublesome, especially later. I'll show you why. Luckily, Kelly cleaned up there. So on phase 2, you get your girl Mature Sharon. Hey, babe. Yo, where'd the bar go? Anyway, so the thing about Sharon this time, she still has the same Lethal Beauty on counterattack. So it's basically like Charm again, but it can't be broken with damage. And then she marks fire enemies at the start of the turn. So this isn't like your typical mark. Basically, if she marks a fire enemy, anybody that takes damage on the team, fire enemy or not, it does full damage to them. And since she's water, she's doing bonus damage to them. So high probability she's going to one-shot fire units. So that's why it's really hard to get Rue. In fact, you basically can't bring Rue because the next boss does that as well. And Rue's the only hero that could consistently dispel all this BS that goes on. So they, in effect, nerfed Rue and all fire units. So you can't even bring, like, the fire girls in here, like Leafa, Cynthia, anything like that. You can't even bring them in. So they fucked fire units. They fucked male units. And, of course, they screwed the one tank that could actually tank in here because, remember, Electra, despite being a girl, is a fire unit. All the rest of the good tanks are men, unless you want to bring, like, one of the SR tanks. So, they've nerfed so many fucking heroes in this dungeon that it's just like, well, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Well, what you're supposed to do is, you're supposed to have all of the units that are the bonus units and possibly bring in 2 Junias or 2... what's the other? Amelia's or Elizabeth or whoever. Jacqueline, I guess. And it's just, they went way too fucking far on nerfing units for this game. It actually makes me want to question why they even have that mechanic in the first fucking place. We know why, because they want to push the banner heroes, but it's so fucking stupid. And then also Ramuh's costume would actually help out a lot in here, the $20 costume. Because it would basically make her such an effective healer that she could almost solo heal this dungeon and dispel and etc. But alright, so what we're gonna do, Trying to think if I want to get everyone's attack up yet. I'll explain more mechanics as they show up here. So the reason I bring Tayo is Tayo really helps you get through phase 2 much more cleaner, depending on how many charms she's proccing and she summons the monkeys again. So even though I want Ash to get out of this, I'm still saving the heal for when she eventually does her big AoE attacks. So like I said, when she does this, now a couple things happen here. Number one, she puts up her hit back guaranteed counter, and remember when she counters, she's always doing that charm. So you got to watch out for that. But a turn is going to go by, so the duration of it won't be a bad thing. But she also gives herself a fairly fat shield. And it says penetration damage. Oh, never mind. It's just a fat shield. But she gets a fat shield whenever she summons the monkeys, and the monkeys get the shield too. So you can punish that with Amelia, because Amelia, if you notice on her one, her passive states that, I believe it's 50%, it might be more, but she hits 50% harder, I believe, on anyone that has a shield or a damage immunity. And then if you hit her with the one is 100% base damage and inflicts an additional 80%. For anyone with a shield or immunity. Now, if you skill up her one, it goes to 160 base damage, but this goes to like, I forget what the percentage was. It was like 130 or something like that. It's a lot. So that if you combine it with her passive, without anything else, like runes or anything else, buffs, anything, she's doing like 300 some % damage to anyone with a shield with her one. So if you're going to run her PvE on like damage immunity shield advents like Sid or whatever, highly recommend, maybe Sid's a bad choice there, but highly recommend doing her one for her skill up. But in this case, she's stunned and snared, so that's not going to happen. Now, the shield's a problem because the lower that Sharon's health goes, the more monkeys she starts summoning. And killing the monkeys is a waste of time because she just keeps resummoning them and getting the shield. So what you want to do, you just focus all out on Julie and YOLO. That's all you can really... Or I said Julie, sorry, Sharon. And that's all you do. Now that move she just did right there, that hits harder if there's charm up. So... And as you can see, I just spent like an hour working so that I could skill up Ruby's runes, and she just freaking one-shot her like she was nothing there, so... And unfortunately, that's just how it's going to go. Now, I'm going to do Tayo's damage mitigation, which is on his ult. Help try to keep him up. So you see she got the fat shield, but she just fucked herself because... Guess whose turn it is? And that was base, guys. That was level 1, so that's really good. Now, this boss is bullshit right here. So there's a couple mechanics to explain. So number one, this is a DPS race. You got 15 turns from when she gets in here until she does Berserk Rage, and she does big AoE ult. You might be able to survive it with like immunities or revives or whatever the first time, but the second time you're fucking dead. And then also... increased damage dealt to melee targets, so Tayo's going to get one shot. And even with his mitigation up, because I've had him at full health with the 50% damage mitigation up, still gets one shot, doesn't matter. And then decreased damage taken from them. Marks fire enemies at the start of the turn, so if you were thinking about like, oh, I could sneak Rue, I could just res her in phase 3, nope. No, you can't. She just one-shots them no matter what. So, and then she's taking turns, you see her turn order, basically after every 2 of your characters. Now, the problem that's going to come up is, and the reason you have to basically run one of the banner units, if you come in here without one of the banner units, she will summon Shiloh, and it's not like the Shiloh that is like the nice, you know, oh, look at that crazy old man. He's got bombs on his shoulders. He's an R unit. He's nothing. This is the Shiloh of fucking death that will one-shot your entire team. And there isn't shit you can do about it because he spawns with immune to abnormal statuses for 5 turns. You can possibly get a stun on him, but it's not reliant. And like you can get probably your best chance for a stun is Ashes 2, because I think that's at like 80% when it's leveled all the way. Or maybe it starts at 80 and then it gets to 100%. But basically, you're fucked. You're just like super fucked. Now, if you get lucky and you bring one of the banner units, then she'll spawn Mr. Boom. But the reason I want Junie, if you bring Junie, she doesn't spawn Mr. Boom. She doesn't spawn Shiloh. She spawns like a mushroom unit because Shiloh and Mr. Boom are like Shiloh is, what is it, Junia's grandfather or some shit. And Mr. Boom is like distant cousin or whatever the fuck it said. So they don't spawn because they're not going to fight him. In effect, it's kind of like that concert dungeon. So that's a super cheap fucking move. Like, honestly, that's one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever seen. Like, it was cute in the 3-star dungeon because it's a 3-star dungeon. But in a advent dungeon where you're already banning all these fucking heroes, not only are you banning all these heroes, but you're requiring 2 specific heroes. It's even worse than Verdandi and Nikita, so... And we'll just continue going on here as things go on. So, and there goes Taya. Now, in effect, what's going to happen here, and you're going to see this, she is going to sit on Cowley the entire fucking fight and just keep her perma-charmed, and Cowley can't fucking do damage. My Cowley is the buffest out of all my damage units. And I'm fucked. I can't do anything. Even if Cowley's in stealth, even if there's no one sitting next to her, I had it on the fucking stream. She hit Cowley with her 2 when no one was fucking next to her, with 2 heroes alive in the 3 and 5 position. That was bullshit. She can see Cowley in stealth, she can target Cowley with her 2, and she can knock her out of stealth and perma-charm her. So if Cowley's in stealth, I can't even get like a 2 or 3 off, like I'm fucked. Now the other problem is, when you debuff this hero, if she gets a dot on her, I forget exactly how it works, but if you get a dot or a debuff on her, number 1, she gets 40% additional evasion, and she also gets a damage buff. I forget exactly what the damage buff was, but I want to say it was like 50%. And then there was another buff that she gets from it. I forget what that was too. I believe it's on one of her skills, like it hits harder or something like that. So Cowley gets fucked in here and there, and shit you can do about it, because she can't, even if she stealths, this bitch still hits her out of it. When she's not stealth, she's just perma-charmed. And then Cowley's putting up the dots when she is stealthed, and she can put up the debuff so that it's buffing this character. So even Cowley at 4-star, or excuse me, 6 purple star, can't do shit. And I was doing this on stream yesterday. Cowley sat in charm for 7 out of the 10 fucking turns. I couldn't do anything, because even if Cowley resists the charm, she attacks 3 times to Cowley's 1. And she multis all the time, and she has her cone effects all the time, and she counters a fair, healthy amount, so it's just like, you can't do shit. So what I'm going to do now, I can get Cowley out of charm this one time, but of course, she's just going to hit her again after the fact, so. Now, the problem with Lily, her 2 is basically, it punishes for damage immunities and shields, which this boss never has. And then her 3, that's a cone effect, by the way. Her 3 hits everybody, and it casts Weaken, but of course Weaken, which decreases max HP and HP, that's not going to work on the boss. It might work on the ads. So essentially, you might as well just hit her with the 1. As weird as it sounds. Like, I'm going to hit her with the 2 anyways, because it's a higher damage multiplier. But the 3 just save for the boss, because it doesn't hit. You know, maybe you'll be lucky and proc a Weaken on whoever she summons, which, yeah, right, fat chance. So, and even when they spawn, they never stand right next to her. So I've upgraded my heroes since then, so I'm hoping that the upgrades are enough to beat her in the DPS race before she perma-charms and summons whoever the fuck she summons. That's gonna get, like, ridiculous counters and all that. So that's double multi so far. So Ramuh's sitting here in stealth, but that ain't gonna save her. Well, luckily she didn't counter there. Oh fuck, she summoned Shiloh, the fucking Mr. of Death. So when she summons somebody, it can be Mr. Boom or it can be Shiloh if you don't have Junia. Otherwise she'll summon a mushroom. So, like, look at this shit. And keep in mind too, when she summoned, she auto-charmed everybody and did a decent amount of health, to the fact that I basically have to skip a turn. And if I'm skipping a turn, you know, if Faru was here, that would be one thing, because they're, you know, you can dispel or something. But that's why you really need that one hero that does, what's it called? Abnormal status immunity. Effect will be removed if HP is at 100% at the end of the turn. Well, of course, that ain't fucking happening, because Ramu only regens 10% health, and everyone's auto-charmed, so there's no heals going out. Now check out Shiloh. Extremely enraged towards enemies that are bullying Shiloh's granddaughter's friend. What the fuck? Let me read that for you again if you missed it. Extremely enraged towards enemies that are bullying Shiloh's granddaughter's, who is Julia, friend. What the fuck? Like, you ever seen an old man get upset because your granddaughter's friend is being bullied? And you're gonna come out with, like, the super bomb of death. Like, watch, this dude's gonna one-shot my entire team except Callie, who's gonna resolve. She'll revive, and then everyone else will just fucking die, and then they'll die the very next turn. So look at this, I have to skip it. I have to skip a full fucking round of turns while she gets to go twice, so her Berserk timer's gonna go to 8. But her Berserk doesn't even matter, because Shiloh's gonna fucking wreck me. So look at this shit. Oh look, Callie's sitting in fucking perma-stealth again. You see this shit? And what can you do about that? Because you can stun them, but if you're in charm the first fucking turn... Is there someone with like a counter stun? Maybe the nurse? I guess you could have her in here, Etika, for that, but... There ain't shit I can do about that. And literally the only reason I'm gonna lose this is because he's here. I actually had a decent shot to beat her. Otherwise, not a good shot, but a decent shot. So now... I mean, honestly, I have to go on fucking Shiloh, which of course... You know, Callie can do some good damage, but this... Look, she was in stealth again, and she fucking flushed Callie out of stealth. That's fucking bullshit right there on it. It seems like her 2's always on fucking cooldown. So if you get lucky, Ramu would stun right there, and here comes the fucking... Done. Ain't shit you can do about it. Now, if Mr. Boom spawns in that place, you got a shot. A small shot, but you have a shot. So we're gonna try to run it again with that same team, and maybe I'll get Mr. Boom. But otherwise, dude, the Grandfather of Death, you can stun him if you're lucky. I don't know how you would stun him, because the only way you could stun him is if you had that block, or if you had someone like Abel that could put up block abnormal status immunity. But you can't do it with Rue. Abel gets one shot because he's a guy. Abel will have the shield up for the first turn, and you could possibly put it up the 6th turn, but after that he's fucking dead. It's smart AI. Smart AI, by the way, is working more against us than for us, so... That wasn't something that helps us. That's something that fucks us over bad. So, alright, let's go try this garbage again. If I get lucky, she'll spawn Mr. Boom, and we have a shot at that point, because Mr. Boom is not as bad as Shiloh. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, who else that I have that I could take? Because it can't be fire, and it has to be a girl. So, like, I could take Esna, but Esna's... You know, she doesn't stun or anything. She's fire. Julie doesn't stun. May doesn't stun. I'm trying to think if May would be okay. Ellie sleeps, but she doesn't have abnormal status immunity for anybody. She's fire. Abel's a guy. And then at that point, I have to start getting to like my SR heroes, because it's like, Saya can't stun. She can sleep, but it's not a great proc rate. I don't think her ulti... Yeah. So I'm just fucked. But anyways, we'll just keep going. So let's go ahead, we'll take Ash's guy back. But that's why I'm looking for a Junia. You guys that have Junias, put that as your friend list. You're going to get a ton of friend points. And unfortunately, I don't have one up yet. I can probably beat the dungeon as soon as one gets up. But anyways, let's go back. But this dungeon's so poorly designed because they excluded way too many characters. If you were going to make a hero that's strong against melee, then do not automatically exclude all fire units, because fire units are already at a disadvantage because of the element. But the fact that they permanently made sure that you couldn't use any fire unit, basically because of Rue. Yeah, that's fucked up. That was like a bad move. Super fucked up. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So... So it's not effective. Like, it would be one thing if this dungeon was challenging and, oh yeah, we really have to figure out some new strategy because, you know, whatever mechanic or whatever. But in this case, it's just, oh no, you just need the banner units. And the bonus units. That's it. There's no real strategy. And if you get Junia, this dungeon becomes so easy. It's basically just like how Nikita's dungeon was. Just in a different way. So if you don't have someone that can burst a lot of damage, this phase 2 actually becomes quite the challenge because you need to get to phase 3 with as much HP and of course your character's alive as possible, but without Tayo it's really hard to kill her like quickly. It's not impossible, it's just you gotta have some really good burst units going on. And then, of course, the boss units are taking turns at a 3-to-1 ratio of whatever you're doing. Now, sometimes what sucks is her turn, what's her name, Julia? Amelia. Her turn lines up right before Sharon is going to cast a shield, so you're kind of screwed there, unfortunately. But, you know, just go ahead, like, burn a 2 or something. Try to CC. Or kill the monkeys. Just so you can encourage her to hopefully summon the next turn versus doing her big AoE. And then she's going to get her shield, and then whatever damage mitigation you have to stay alive. So like in that case, I mean, Tayo's going to be dead next round anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But then now the issue is, I'm not going to hit her because she's going to guarantee counterattacks. I'm going to go hit one of the monkeys. The monkeys, they do cone attacks if they stay up. Oh, of course, she got fucking charmed. Great. So we're losing people now. And then she put her shield back up. So you see that RNG good times of knocking people out of stealth, and alright, I'm gonna try to res right now. Alright, luckily Ruby's turn's gonna go first, so I can just insta-wrecker. So once again, we'll get to this boss. Lily, she's gonna fucking instant kill Tayo, even if it's not first turn. Procs multi, it seems like 100% of the time. Procs counter about like 70% of the time. And then hopefully I'm not going to get the fucking Grandpa of Death. Oh, that's right, yeah, she hadn't used that yet. Oh, also, I recommend counter here too as well, just because you know, she's going to be hitting you a lot as long as you don't get charmed, which is a pretty big if, but that's pretty much the only stable way to do damage here. Unless you can get that abnormal status immunity, which of course I can't. She dodged without her buff. Pfft, that sucks, because Callie has like almost 25% hit ratio. So that blows. And of course Ash has been in fucking that the entire time. So I'm gonna... Actually, should I ult? She summons Mr. Boom as long as you don't DPS her too much. So I feel like I'm gonna stay in stealth and just get knocked out of it. There's a thing with Mr. If you don't do enough damage to her right away, she doesn't summon Shallow right away, she'll get Mr. Boom. I believe it's right around turn 8. Which is a better alternative, so even though I got all this shit, I'm gonna hold it. Just because I don't want to deal with that. I don't know what the HP threshold for that is, by the way. Alright, so now I'm just gonna go on her, because... Fuck it, tacos. Oh shit, she summoned him anyways. Fuck. Oh, I'm fucked. And that's another dumb thing. It's like, if she happens to summon one of her ads, you're just fucked, even though you got her at half health. Because you were DPSing too fast in a DPS race. Yeah, great system. So eventually the Grandpa of Death, and this time I don't have, not only do I not have a resurrection when she comes back, and she'll probably be charmed anyways, I don't have Callie's resolve, so I'm screwed. It's fucking... That's my granddaughter's friend. Because it makes so much sense that they're together, because old people really hang out with young fashionable girls. It's stupid shit, so... And then even if you defend to try to survive, you're perma-charmed, so you can't do shit. And it apparently, because if you noticed last time, this was on a 1-turn cooldown, that was on a 2-turn cooldown. So somewhere in there, one of them's increasing cooldown duration. Could be Shiloh, I don't know, but... So even if you can DPS fast and you could possibly burst her, fuck you. In a DPS race. So let me do it one more time. And then after that, I'm fucking done. And once again, anyone that sees this video that's on my friend list, or if you're not on my friend list, I'll kick off in AFK. If you got a Junia built, fucking give me your friend code, I'll beat this stupid dungeon. But until then, I pulled on the banners, I didn't get shit, so... Not even an SR. I haven't gotten an SR for a long time. It was like since Eamon. I got a couple, you know, but it was like Rebecca and, you know, stuff like that. No new SR, I guess I should say SSR. So you know what happens when you don't spend money, you get fucked. Is the way this game's going, since not only do they have the costume thing in now, but they're starting to require the current banner heroes to beat the new advents. So one more time and I'm done. But like, think about if I could keep Callie like not CC'd, and because Callie's 666, she has all her skills. If I could keep Callie not CC'd and have her act probably about 6 or 7 turns out of the... Well, actually, she wouldn't get that many. Probably like 5 turns. So say 5 out of 7 turns or something like that. Then I could probably kill her. You know, assuming I could keep my other DPS up and not charm. But there's no way to tank in here. Because Cordelia's nerfed, all the guy tanks will get 1 shot. And then your only other option is like a girl SR tank, like Carolina or something like that. Which, of course, how many of us have her built? Even though I was thinking about it, but... I'm gonna try this and see if it works. Alright, good, that can work. So the new dungeon, if you don't have the banner units, it's just misery and woe. Regretting your decision to not spend money on the Elizabeth banner and whatever else is going on. And there goes Ruby. Yeah, she survived. So that was a life steal, and she had poison on, so she killed herself with it, since dots can't kill you. Why, hello, Sharon. Alright, so... I'll save it in case I need it, because... I want to have that for phase 3. I would love to go into phase 3 with, like, all of my ults up, and at least first turn we could probably get some damage out, but then you have to deal with Shiloh, so you'd have to stun him. And of course you're charmed for the first turn, so the chances of that are pretty much nil unless you have the 50% abnormal status immunity. Alright, so this time, because Tayo has 3 stacks, I'm going to elect to just hit normally and hope he crits, which of course he didn't, and he got charmed, so no chance for a follow-up. Great job, Tayo, great job. Stun the monkeys. Look at Tayo's going to die with like 8 stacks. So sad. I'm thinking about it. Let's see if Callie can one-shot her. Odds are pretty bad, but we'll see. Almost. If she'd have crit, she'd have one-shot. Eternally stunned Tayo. Hopefully this girl summons. If she summons, yeah, good, okay. So I can actually get to the next phase without an issue. So once again, Tayo's insta-dead. And the reason I originally put Tayo by Callie, is because Tayo would die and then there would be no way to target Callie when Callie was in stealth. Well, we all know that's not true, because Netmarble said fuck you to Callie. As they did in PvP when Eamon and all the other AoE heroes came out. So, anywho. And there it is again. Not only knock out of stealth, but charm as well. Because why not? So look at that, like in a DPS race, if everything was going optimal, I already have her at fucking almost half health, but DPSing racing her is bad unless you can stop this. Because now Shiloh's just gonna fucking one-shot people. And even if one of the heroes broke out of it miraculously somehow, with the 100% thing, you know, she's just gonna fucking charm him, because smart AI, lol. And there's the resolve. Boom! So this shit's... Actually, it's not over, but... It's... Oh, she's charmed. Well, it's basically over then. She can survive once. And if she gets charmed, which she did, that shit's over now. Alright, I know I said I'd stop, but I want to show you guys Mr. Boom. So I'm going to, in a DPS race, not DPS the first 8 turns, because that's how Netmarble programmed this dungeon. And basically, the long story short of this video is, if you have heroes that are not the recommended heroes, good luck. Even if you have 2 Callies, good luck. Even if you have 2 666 Callies, good luck. Which I'm actually... I'm starting to think about trying that. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'll do that. Although I'm gonna lose a lot of damage bonus, though. Okay, never mind. I guess I'm not doing that. If stealth was something that worked, I would probably do that, but since it isn't... Alright, seriously, last attempt this time. I'm sorry, guys, if I've kept you. I want to try a new strat. So like I said, misery and woe. By the way, that's Ash's character I'm using. Ash could wreck it if he had both these heroes. He could wreck it pretty quick. But what's funny is up until phase 3, it's like the good old Callie days of Callie's hitting really effing hard. Also, why did he get hit that hard? I don't get it. That's weird. Yeah, well. No, I want to save that +6. Survive, Tayo, survive. Oh yeah, for those of you that were, remember how we were getting kind of sick because there was no new content and then there was new heroes every week? Yeah, they've already data mined a bunch of new heroes, so... It's coming, guys, so probably gonna be required for next, whatever the next admin dungeon's gonna be, sadly. And I gotta say, out of all the things in the game so far, that is what makes me want to quit more than anything, is the fact that you need to have every new hero to do everything, and then, you know, they're situational in most other places. That is something that would make me quit the game before, like, costume gate and content, etc. But not that those other two help, but if that's going to be a thing going forward, yeah, you can count me out after December. Oh, I was hoping Tayo would attack, but that's okay, because watch this. What? Oh, wait, no. Even if it wasn't a multi, that still should have hit way fucking harder. She must have damage reduction first turn, and they snuck it in, those bastards. Because there's no way 7 with crits would hit for... What was that, 60k? She hits way harder than 60k. Wow, they even fucking nerfed that. What an ass. Yeah, well. See, I hate it when they stealth things in like that. And then if she wasn't charm stunned, we could do a grip of damage, but of course she is. And then Ruby removes it, so I can't even, like, wait a turn. Fun. Fun. So her ult's coming next, so I might as well just ult. Ooh, close. Damn. And she procced hide, that's funny. Alright, well, I don't need Tayo. Ruby would be nice, but actually, this might be horrible, this might work out, because I'm gonna wait and see if she kills Ash. If she starts sitting on Callie, I'll, like, I don't even want to attack, because she's gonna charm. Should be fine. If she attacks Callie, which she hasn't yet. Interesting. Alright, so now she has buff damage. Yeah, she's gonna sit on Callie now. I'm not summoning shit until she gets, what's it called? She summons Mr. Boom. So, we're gonna mitigate, because once again, in Netmarble's infinite wisdom, a DPS race is not a DPS race until turn 8. And what was about the threshold? I think it was like low 500s, high 400s. So I gotta make sure not to DPS her past that. So we'll do like 1 auto. Alright, that should be good. And then wait for turn 8. Or whatever, 8. Why hasn't she summoned them yet? Alright, well, I guess it is just random then. I was thinking it wasn't random. So let's see. We'll go ahead and put the damage amp up. So I guess I got disproven then. Because I heard that if you DPS her too fast... See, there's Mr. Boom. But then when Mr. Boom spawns, he is immune to abnormal statuses, so you basically can't stun him or anything, and then you got this charm bullshit. But he does not do Shiloh's damage, so that is like the saving grace. Maybe what it is you have to wait after turn 8, and then you DPS her down the threshold, whatever it is. But you see here, she's just starting to go ham on damage, so... There's still like almost nothing we can do. So even though, consider this, we got her at half health with most of the characters unable to act for about, what, the equivalent of at least half of the turns, if not more. And one character was dead for the majority of the fight. So if I could just get burst on her, you know, I could make this work, but she's berserking now, so next turn, boom. So it's just dumb. It's a dumb Advent dungeon. But it's the way it is, so if you want to beat the Advent dungeon, get yourself a Junia, and everything else after that, you can probably come up with a combo, even if you don't have optimal heroes. As long as they're girls, as long as they're not fire, should be fine, so. But anyways, as for me and everyone else that doesn't have those heroes, fuck this Advent dungeon. It's fucking bullshit. And yeah, so that's that. So I will catch you guys later on. Don't know if I'll do more videos today, we'll see, but if you enjoyed the content, which I don't see how you could have, because not only am I pissed off, but the dungeon's fucking bullshit, consider hitting the like button. I'm also ShowtimeDr, ShowtimeDr. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/ShowtimeDr. In the title notes, there's a link to that. There's a link to the Discord. We got a KC tab there. And some other gaming communities, so. Dragalia lost. And yeah, so that's it for me, guys. Peace out. I'll catch you later.